Hello, my name is Kim Tsoukalas. I'm franchise owner of Network in Action Twin Cities. Very excited to introduce to you a very special member today. His name is John Heutmaker, and he's with Accurate. Hi, John.
Good afternoon. How's it going today?
I'm awesome. Thank you. I'm honored and privileged to have someone like you in my groups. You're a wonderful person. You're a very impressive business background. And today we want to take a little bit of time to share with you, with all the viewers here, a little bit about your background and Accurate.
Sure, that'd be great. I appreciate the time, and certainly being part of NIA has been a great addition to our outreach to new clients and new networking individuals and people that may need our services and become clients for us in the future. So it's been a great experience for us as well. So I really appreciate that, and I appreciate the work you put in as well.
Thank you.
Just a quick background. I'm a guy that's been around in the accounting business for 30 plus years. I was a St. Thomas grad way back in the day in '89, and spent about 4 or 5 years in public accounting with what's now called Boulay Group. It used to be called Boulay Heutmaker Zabel. My dad was an accounting guy. He was the managing partner there for a number of years. So I cut my teeth at Boulay and then left there and moved on to private accounting for about 10 years, give or take. And I've been in the consulting business since essentially 2000, and we started Accurate in 2003. So we're 20 plus years into doing the work that we do, helping out our clients with some consulting work and tax prep and all the things that go along with that as well.
What services does your firm provide?
So we've got a number of different things that we provide to the clients. So we certainly do tax services, both for individuals and corporations, whether it's a C Corp, S Corp, LLC, whatever it might be. And I generally say the size doesn't really matter. We have really simple individual returns that we do that could be a single parent with a couple of kids has a W-2, and it's a quick and easy return for us to do, all the way up to where we have clients that have multiple K-1s, multiple businesses, multiple states. So we provide those to our clients. On top of that, we do some audit work, we do some review work, in particular with a lot of nonprofits. And then we also provide our consulting services to our clients, which is really the focus there, is to make sure that we're getting to our clients on a monthly basis, is the goal anyway, on a monthly basis, to have them a set of financial statements with a little bit of a financial analysis of what happened during the month, so that the owners or management can see what happened last month, see what was good, what was bad, and figure out how they can prospectively use the knowledge that we've given to them to make their business better on a going forward basis.
It's good to have a proactive approach versus a reactive, right? So that month to month is really valuable.
Yeah, it is.
Change things down the road, you're like,
absolutely. And we've run into a lot of clients that just, they get behind on a lot of things because we're all busy. And in particular now, you and most of the people that I know, we're all running like chickens with their heads cut off. And it's hard to keep track of those things. And they become the important building blocks for having a strong, good company that you can build on the goods and try to minimize the bads. And the only way you can get that information in your hand is to have, whether it's internal or you're using somebody like Accurate, helping you get that information into your hands so that you can make as good a decision as you can about what you're going to do with your company.
Share a little bit about where your offices are located.
So we have 5 offices. We have 4 in Minnesota and 1 in South Dakota. So I'm in our Bloomington office right now. We have Bloomington, Minnesota, Apple Valley, Minnesota, Austin, Minnesota, Grand Rapids, Minnesota. And then we have one way out in Sturgis, South Dakota. So we're all over the place, kind of.
Yes. So share with us a little bit about your approach for consulting services.
Yeah, on the consulting services, the biggest thing that I always talk about to clients and to referral and networking sources and things too, is the biggest approach that we take from a consulting is I always talk about controlling the balance sheet. So there's 2 major financial pieces to your financials, which is your balance sheet, which shows the things that you own and the things that you owe, and then your income statement, or in QuickBooks case, they call it a profit and loss statement, which is the same thing, which shows how you're doing. That's your revenue, your expenses, your overhead, and your bottom line, which we all hope is a positive number at the end of the day. But our approach from the consulting perspective is we want to get control of the balance sheet. We want to know that cash has been reconciled. We want to make sure everything's been billed on the receivables. We want to understand if there's such things as prepaid expenses or other deposits that we need to keep track of. We want to make sure all of our payables are recorded. We want to make sure that we're tying out if there's bank debt or notes payable to another individual or shareholder. Make sure those things are tied out, and we're recognizing the right things related to those, maybe an interest accrual one way or the other. And if we know that that's right, and we've got the schedules to back that up, we know that the income statement's going to be right. Now, granted, the income statement, maybe we've got something in the telephone expense that's supposed to be an office supply, so maybe we got it in the wrong category. But if we know we've got our balance sheet in control, we know that our income statement's got to be correct.
Why don't you share a little bit about the industries that you work with?
So we've been all over the place, kind of. We don't have any real specific industry that we've been in, but we have certainly worked in the manufacturing space, the contracting space, the personal services space, distribution. We've had landscape clients. We've had a few nonprofit clients. We've got a distributor. So there hasn't been anything too specific that we've just focused in on, because realistically, when you talk about accounting, the debits and credits are always the same, no matter what company we're working with. It's just a difference. There's just some differences in approach from an ownership or management perspective of what's important to them, what are the key metrics that they're looking at, what they want things to look like on their income statement, their profit and loss statement, versus what somebody else might want. But realistically, the approach is still the same. Make sure we know cash is right, make sure we know what they've got for receivables and who they owe money to, so that you can manage those things the right way.
Yeah. Best advice I could ever give a business is get someone to work with to do your bookkeeping and your taxes that knows what the heck they're doing. Because I'll tell you what, it's a deal breaker in your business. I mean, even though you can do some of these things, doesn't mean you should.
Right.
So
Well,
to put it in
we
hands is very important.
Right. We've seen it a lot that, what I've seen over all the years is, people want to start a business, and most business owners know what they're doing. I mean, they know their business. I've got a old client of mine that he had a maintenance company, and he maintained like the clean rooms down at HCMC, that kind of a situation.
Right.
And you could watch him just walk into these rooms, look around a little bit, and do calculations in his head. And he knows, this is what I got to charge you, X number of dollars per month. So he knew his business, but he wasn't the accounting guy. Oh. And that's where a lot of it gets left behind. Is nobody worries about the accounting until it becomes a problem. So even if people need accurate service from that perspective to get them started down the right track, and keep them on that track. So, as Bugs Bunny would say, you don't make that left turn at Albuquerque. We don't want to get them we don't want them to get to Albuquerque. We want them to make the left turn before they get there, so they stay on the right track. And we've seen it a number of times over the years.
It's just like anything. People sometimes don't understand the value of it. And a lot of times people don't know what they don't know.
Right.
I see that all the time with my members. They think they know, or they just don't know what they don't know.
Right.
And losing out on really wonderful, huge tax benefits that they could take advantage of. And just even sometimes moving to an S Corp can make such a massive difference in our business. Right.
So there's a lot of those tax strategies that can come into play with the people that we have in our stable of tax professionals and consulting professionals, that we can certainly assist the clients and with those things.
Very few people become business owners because they want to do accounting. Like, if you're wise, though, you make sure you outsource things that to the experts, and then you can focus on what you're an expert in, building your business and right hands. Share a little bit about some of the typical situations companies use your consulting services for.
So the answer to that is it really varies, but we have a number of different situations that we're in. I have a current client right now that I essentially go into a day a month, 2 half days, maybe on the 10th and 11th of the month. And I'm there specifically to close the books, right? Because they have an internal accounting person that's doing bank recs and doing cash transactions and doing all the daily blocking and tackling that needs to happen for that company. And then I'm coming in to maintain those schedules that I talked about, maintaining and controlling the balance sheet and getting a set of financials out to the company president so he can see what happened during the month, making the right journal entries, getting stuff ready for their tax people. They use a different tax service than us, which is perfectly fine. And we work with all kinds of people outside of Akron. So, once a year, I got to put extra schedules together for them to get their tax return done. We have other clients where we're kind of the whole accounting package for them. So we're doing a lot of month-end close. We're doing a lot of the blocking and tackling, the basic things that are going on. We've also had situations where it's been projects. Certain things come up. A project comes up. They need an extra person to work on a specific project. Might be even collection calls. We've done that with clients as well. So we've had a lot of different situations like that. We've had a lot where we've started off doing this much work and we've gotten it down to this much work because we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, which is getting efficient and effective.
That's when you've done a good job, is when they don't need you.
Exactly.
But, I'm going to tell you, I was in the recruiting industry for so many years, and I'll tell you what, it is so hard to get good help, to get experts to do a good job. No one's going to take care of them like an owner like you. And the cost of having an employee, the cost of the benefits for the employee, all those things where you can outsource these services to a very, very knowledgeable source that's not going anywhere.
Right.
And you know what? Business owners need flexibility. You may have an employee that's on an illness, like on a leave of absence. Maybe they're on a maternity leave.
Right.
Maybe they're on a sick leave. Maybe you have bought a new company and you just need help with the transition of adding to your company, things like that. So you are such a one-stop shop. You really, there's a lot of things and a lot of flexibility you offer to people that need anything under the umbrella of consulting and tax CPA services.
Right. And we can, like you, just to dovetail on that, we can bridge that gap, right? So sometimes, like you said, somebody loses their controller, somebody loses their senior accountant, whatever it might be. And you want to make sure that the train keeps going down the track. So we can come in and play that role and then transition our way out, which is a normal process for us as well. So in a way, we don't like to lose clients, but sometimes it makes most sense because they've used us for what they need us for. And hopefully we've passed on a lot of the duties to other people and they don't need us anymore. And we move on.
You have that internal worker that does the everyday things that you can pay a nice average salary for, but you don't have to pay a CFO salary. You have someone like you to come in and just do the big things, and so it's just, you can't go wrong. There's so many ways that you could benefit from working with you. Want you to share a little bit about your philosophies around your service offerings. Sure.
Well, yeah. So I kind of have two main philosophies that I always talk about. When I'm sitting across from either, people like yourself or potential clients, there's a couple things I say. And one is, I am not here to spend your money. That's not my job. My job is not to spend your money. My job is not to find things to do so that I can bill you my hourly rate or our staff their hourly rate. That's not my job. My job is to provide the services that you want as efficient and effective as possible, and not to have a negative, not make my effect on your budget as least impactful as possible.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other one that I think is more key, or the way that we approach it, is our job is to work our way out of the job. So we've kind of talked about that, right? So this client that I mentioned that I'm only there for 2 half-days a month, when I started out on that client 16, 18 years ago, I did this much. I was going in there software testing, and then it became this. And over the years, we've been able to pass more of the stuff that I was doing onto their internal people, which again, costs that company less for the services we provide. And we're training their employees. That makes them a better employee, gives them a better job opportunity, and creates more skills for them too, for if they leave that company, right? So we've gone from doing this much work at that client to being there a day a month.
Yeah.
And we try to do that with everybody. Does it happen with everybody? No, we've got plenty of long-term clients that we're spending 3 half-days a week on them, just because that's what they've asked us to do. And we'll get bigger and smaller as need be over the years, just depending on the client needs and where we are with them.
You know, I really appreciate your philosophies, and I think anybody listening to this interview can appreciate them as well. I know that you're highly, highly, highly recommended. I'm so proud to have people like you in our groups. I highly recommend anybody out there to take the time to learn more about John and his services. What is the best way for people to reach out to you if they would love to learn more?
They absolutely can. They can email me or call me. No problem. So my email address is john.heutmaker@goaccurate.com. And my phone number is 612-232-9380. And I'll just preface that by saying, if you call me and I don't answer, please leave me a message, because I do get a lot of junk calls. So I kind of pseudo screen them, but I will get back to you for sure.
Reach out to him. You will be so glad you did. And he will actually return your call. Even during tax season, which is quite usual. So reach out to John. You'll be glad you did. Thank you for your time today.
Thanks, Kim.